right, looks like we are live. Hey everybody, happy work week. How's everyone doing today? I hope life is serving you well. Like the great Jay-Z said, you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate it. And I like to give it a second and let people roll in. But before we start, for daily motivation, I'd like to give you your angel numbers. And if you ever want to get this book, where am I find these angel numbers? It's from an author named Doreen Virtue. I actually found this in Casadega. Hey Mark, how's it going? I got this book in Casadega. Me and my wife was taking like a little spiritual retreat there. And so it's a really awesome book. I think you can find this on Amazon. If you're curious, it's Doreen Virtue, The Angel Numbers 101. Just the basic angel numbers. So today, since this is episode 223, I want to give you the angel numbers of 23. Thank you, Mark, for your likes. And if you watch this and this served you well, please like, please share, and please comment. You are working closely with one or more ascended masters, such as Jesus, Moses, the saints, or the goddesses. This is a message from your ascended masters' guides, who can see that the answer to your prayers is within reach. They encourage you to stay positive to ensure that you attract the best possible outcome. So if you stumble upon this episode, that means that angel number was for you. So that is awesome. And so today I want to talk about, and of course this is daily motivation, 365 days of consistency, doing the same things over and over again until they become habit. And today I want to talk about talk is cheap, but action costs. Talk is cheap, but actions cost. What do you mean, Rich? Well, let's take about, I'll say it this way. I was listening to Eric Thomas the other day. He says, do you know Bentleys never go on sale? Ferraris never go on sale. Lamborghinis never go on sale. So that means if you want a Ferrari and a Lamborghini, you can't bring a coupon. You can't bring a coupon. You have to pay full price. And success, there's a price to pay. Anything that's high end, anything that's worth any value, there's a cost to it. There's a cost to it. But talking about success is actually very cheap. It costs you little to nothing to talk about success, to talk about action, to talk about your abilities, to talk about your skills, to talk about your attributes. It costs you nothing. But in order to actually be successful, it takes action, and action is expensive. It takes something out of you to take action. It takes energy. It takes focus. It takes know-how. It takes losing sleep sometimes. It takes pushing yourself in order to take action to reach success. Now, Rich, what is the biggest difference between the talkers and the doers? Well, here's the biggest difference, really, is the universe is always checking for your authenticity. I'll repeat that. The universe is always checking for your authenticity. So what you say, what comes out of your mouth, and all speech is thoughts expressed. That's it. Thoughts expressed is speaking. So when you're speaking, that means you had the thought and you spoke it into existence. Now the universe will check for your authenticity. They're going to say, okay, is he really going to do what he says he's going to do? Is she really that person that she says she is? And you will be tested. Like, for example, one of my affirmations I say every day is, I am generous. I am a generous person. I am a giving person. That's one of my daily affirmations. And it seems like life, I remember especially like this year, especially when times are even tough, that the universe tests me on that. I remember when I think I had $10 left to my name. I had $10 in my bank account. I was struggling at the time very much. And it was tough, and I didn't have a job. I didn't know where my next income was coming. And I remember I'm driving, and I'm texting somebody in the parking lot, and I start to leave. And a gentleman came up to me and said, hey man, you don't know me, but I'm really, really hungry. Do you think you could spare a couple of bucks to get me a slice of pizza? Now, initially, my initial thought was like, bro, I got $10 left in my name. I can't give that to you. I can't give that to you because that's what I have. But another side of me says, Rich, this is a test for you. Are you really a giving person? Are you really a generous person? Or are you only generous when it's convenient? Are you a generous person, or are you only generous under conditions when it's convenient? That was the critical test. So I gave him the $5. I said, you know what, sir? You need it more than I do. At least I got food in the fridge. You don't got food right now, so yes, here's the $5. And he purchased that meal. But something happened where I actually ended up getting a job maybe a week later that helped pay, was a good income. So sometimes life tests you. Before I give something to you, I want to check for your authenticity. The problem with success is, and this is the truth, most people, if they became successful, would probably become jerks and a-holes. Probably hoard what they have, probably want to be giving, probably want to have anything that's the universe wants to give as a vessel. Oh, Mark, give me a comment real quick. Yes, I have seen this idea from Stephen Pressfield, the war of art, of resistance in our life. Absolutely, Mark. The thing is, you always will be tested for your authenticity. Your words have to match your actions and your deeds. That's when you're in alignment. And again, I'll use this quote constantly. You do not get what you want. You get what you are. And many people, a perfect example, another example reminds me of, I was working one time with a coworker, and our manager was kind of a jerk. He was a little rough around the edges. And I remember one of my coworkers says, man, if I had this position, I'd be a lot nicer. He was tested for that authenticity because the manager had to take a week off and said, hey, as the assistant, can you go ahead and take over for this week that I'm gone? He said, okay. And he started acting like the other guy. He started being really jerky. And it thought to me, I was like, that's most people if they actually reach the success that they want. That's why I truly feel that most people don't. Because they know if I gave you all these things, you're not going to share it with anyone else. You're most likely going to hoard it yourself. It's great to talk about, oh yeah, I'll do all these great things. But when the time comes, you actually act exactly like the person that you were disdaining. And the only reason you disdain them is because their vibration and yours matched. You saw a piece of yourself in them. And that's the truth. That's the deep truth. Is you could see yourself in other people. And if you're a person that just talks and says, yes, I will do this, I will do that, you never know what you actually will do until you experience it. That's why life tests you for authenticity. It's good to say something, but how will you act when the life expresses that to you? When the opportunity comes, how will you react? And how you react shows more about your character than what you say. Everyone talks a good game, but not everyone plays a good one. You can go on if you want to learn about success, just go on Instagram. You'll find post and post and post and post and post. But the actual people that are doing it go in and day out. One of the reasons I did my 365 videos is you can see I put in work day in and day out. I live what I talk about. You can test it. You can figure it out. You can find me. You can follow me. That's why. And one great thing is, people will talk about you more than you will talk about you. Oof. I was reading. Actually, my wife is reading Donald Trump's book, How to Become a Billionaire, right? And that was one of the first things he says in the chapter. It's better for others to talk about you. The real successful people will talk about. They will be talked about instead of talking about themselves. He said that he had a guy living in one Trump Towers on the top floor. And this guy was a multi-billionaire. He never knew it. He just knew he was on the top floor and he just lived there. He just see him all the time. How you doing? Hey, how you doing? On the elevator. Just had no idea who this guy was. Then one day he said, Donald, would you like to have dinner with me? And I'm having some friends over. Hang out. And Donald said, okay, sure. Then he went to his apartment, saw how luxurious it was, and saw all these high-end names that was hanging out with him. And then finally he started looking him up, and he saw that he was the CEO of, I think, one of the biggest farm companies bringing food and produce into the country. And he read a magazine and saw about him. But the guy never boasted about himself, because when you're successful, when you're feeling good about you, you don't want to boast. You don't need to. Somebody else will talk about you. Truly, if you want to reach alignment to the successes in the life that you want, you have to talk and act the way you live. Now, if you can't live it, my advice would be don't speak it. And until you can live it, that's when you actually speak it. Why? Because your brain, your mind is always recording. It's paying attention to everything. And the reason most people cannot trust themselves is because they've lied to themselves so many times. Where they say, hey, you know what, next week I'm going to do this, and they don't do it. I'm going to do this, and they don't do it. I'm going to do this, and they don't do it. And eventually your brain starts to say, you know what, you just talking. I'm not taking you serious anymore. But when you get to a habit of talking, doing, it starts flowing in your mind, and then you start to trust yourself. You start to gain more confidence, and you start to get more bolder in your actions, because you know, and everyone else around you know, that they can trust you. Because if you speak it, you live it. The founder of Tom's Shoes carried the quote with him: the more you give, the more you live. Yes, the more you give, the more you live. And Mark, it has to be more than just talk. That's the thing where we have to reach. It's tough for some people. It's easy to talk. It's cheap to talk. Talking is like getting a Kia. I can get a Ford Focus on discount, but I can't get a Ferrari. I can get a Toyota Camry on discount, but I cannot get a Bentley on one. So to get to the high end, you have to put the action in and less of the talk. Again, this is Rich Fontaine. Mark, thank you for watching. Everybody else that has a chance to watch this later, I truly appreciate it. Either you can agree with me or not agree with me, but either way, I feel this was a successful conversation. Love is love, and I appreciate all of you. Have a blessed day.